Hey, all right, there we go. Do a little chat check here, real quick. All right, so Cody Ware is the big news. Some other stuff in the arena of news. Denny Hamlin on Ryan Preece's team saying Kyle Larson is chopping too many people. And he had some, I didn't get a chance to see it, but he also had some comments about the owner's boycott or strike or whatever you want to call it. So lots of stuff to catch up on today. It looks like the chat is working, so we will jump right into it and see what you all would like to talk about. Mark Barnum says, "What's up, Baloney fans? What's up, Mark Barnum?" Claude says, "How many of you are following the Kenny Wallace here on YouTube?" So yeah, Kenny Wallace had a video. I haven't watched any of the Cody Ware videos because I wanted to have my own perspective for my videos. So I haven't seen any of them yet. I'm not following Kenny Wallace because I'm a loser. Says say Kyle, not Cal. Yeah, Kenny Wallace has a pretty good channel. I watch him some of the time. I like his thoughts on the NASCAR stuff. Yeah, he's got pretty cool takes on stuff a lot of times, and I think he was the first one. He was the first one I saw. Like I said, I haven't watched any of them other than Austin Oganowski. He had a pretty good video about the backstory and all that. So check his video out. A lot of backstory there. Good information from him as always. A little risque on some stuff, but this one was pretty tame for an Austin video. Josh Strickland saying, "What's up? What's up, Josh Strickland?" Let's see. Mark Barnum saying Claudia is funny. What's up? James Davison knew about Cody Ware's mental issues, says Jefferson Coaster. So yeah, or Coster. So yeah, that's basically what Austin refers to Oganowski in his videos. Check out his channel. But what he shows in that one is the race at Martinsville from 2017, 2021, somewhere in there. One of those races, and Cody Ware says like several times over the radio that he's going to wreck his teammate on purpose. And at some point, they come over the radio and say, he's not mentally well and something like that. So a lot of people have taken that as a lot of people already knew that he had sort of some stuff going on mentally. That being said, I'm sure he's getting the best help you can get. Like his dad is probably going to spare no expense on stuff like that. So he's not like a regular average person who hasn't had any help with this. So I don't think that necessarily excuses him if he's guilty of what he's accused of. Big if. We should always give the man a day in court. So you always got to throw the big if in there. Obviously, we've seen Kurt Busch situation, the Johnny Depp situation. Who else here? The Duke Lacrosse deal. So every once in a while, it's not necessarily no need to try him in the media. Until he gets his day in court. Tips hat. Hello, Mark. Says say Kyle Nakal. Suarez to SRX. That's pretty awesome. It's going to be a good time. Speedway Anywhere. Just checking. Hello from Speedway Anywhere. What's up, Speedway Anywhere? Word to the bird guys. What's up, E Damon Racing? Jeff says they mentioned it in Radioactive at Martinsville. So yeah, apparently this was a big deal on Reddit, and I just missed it. I'm not a big Reddit person. I didn't really, I don't know. I guess I didn't even really hear about Reddit until maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Say Kyle, not Cal. I watch KW, but he hasn't done the impossible like BB and earned my sub yet. So say Kyle, not Cal. So I mean, go ahead and give him the sub if he's doing work, putting in work over there. Jefferson says, or type Cody Ware versus James Davidson. Yeah, so you could probably pull it up that way too. Ryan Preece paybacks or a biscuit says William Wagaman. So yeah, Ryan Preece. He gave this whole speech about, hey, don't do that, don't wreck people, don't drive aggressive, and then he just eventually has had enough of it. And so, in true race car driver fashion, when you get tired of being wrecked, you start wrecking people yourself, right? So it is what it is. But that being said, even as a Kyle Larson fan, I will say he is chopping people off a lot more than he used to. I personally like it. Like I like drivers that take that space. They're in, especially on a short track. I like that style. Some people like super clean drivers. Like I don't get bothered either way, but I feel like sometimes you got to make your own hole. Sometimes you got to self clear. So that stuff doesn't bother me, but also it doesn't bother me if those drivers, get moved out of the way and stuff like that. Obviously don't wreck them on purpose. So I think a little bit of like crossing, there's a difference between moving somebody and wrecking somebody. There's a difference between chopping somebody and putting somebody in the fence. So it's a fine line. So I don't have a problem with the aggressiveness as long as you're just not straight putting people into the wall. And obviously in that situation, Ryan Preece felt like he was put completely into the wall. So he paid back the favor in his mind. Shaw says, howdy, folks. What's up, Shaw? Hope you're doing good, man. Robin Marks, howdy, y'all from Canada. What's up, Robin Marks? What's up, Canada? Molten Rage, everyone remain respectful in the chat about the situation and mental health. Just don't make jokes. Don't insult mental health and things because someone messed up. Please just say not all of us did that terrible thing that he did. Yeah, so I don't think anybody's going that far. I'm just saying he's had as much help as anybody can have because I'm pretty sure his dad has him in counseling anyway. So I think he's getting as much help as you can get. So I don't know. I have less sympathy if he did what he's accused of doing. Mark Barnum says, will Hailie Deegan fill the seat of the Ware Xfinity car? I don't think it'll be Hailie Deegan. It will be interesting to see sort of who goes into that car. I don't know. I don't think it'll be a big deal one way or the other. That car does not have a lot of speed. The only way it would be a big deal is if a big name got in it and got backing from Stewart Haas Racing or something like that. As far as that goes, though, that's I'm much more interested into how this case actually goes down, and hopefully all the people there are okay. But yeah, there are questions to be asked, and that's sort of what my video was about today. Like as soon as I heard about it, I got on Twitter and people were already like, "Oh, is he going to sell his charter to Dale Jr.?" And they could care less about the lady that got allegedly done bad things to her. And I was just like, y'all immediately see that Cody Ware is in trouble and you jump to Junior might be able to buy the Rick Ware charter now. I was like, that's just, that's the worst part of it. So that's why Twitter's a hellhole anyway. I try to stay off of it as much as I can, but that's where most of the news is at. So I do have to check it out from time to time. So yeah, that's what I was talking about. Obviously these questions will eventually get asked, but some of the people that immediately jumped to that and didn't even think about a person possibly got bad things done to them, that I was like, man, wow, what a world we're living in, right? Anyway, Josh Strickland, I'm going to wait before I speak on Cody. I've personally seen people falsely accused for sure. And I'm right there with you, Josh. Like I'm not saying he did it or didn't do it yet because I lived in Durham, I'm from Durham. And when the Duke lacrosse deal went down, like there were so many people that were so gleeful because they just didn't like Duke athletics. That Duke was these Duke players were going to get accused and arrested and all that. And then, of course, it comes out later that it was just a hoax, right? So we definitely live in a world where either one of these things could possibly be true. So it's all just we got to wait till they have their day in court, right? So that's just the best way to go about it. Matt Hunter, pleased with the competition, the Bristol Dirt. Disappointed with the turnout. Might have been end of Easter experiment there. Switch it to the fairgrounds, make it a dirt race and an exhibition. Yeah, I think if you have a dirt race, it definitely will help out if it goes to an exhibition, no doubt about it. Angus 420. I've got autism. It's not an excuse. Yeah, so like I said, like I think he's getting as much help as he can get, and hopefully he didn't do it. Like I guess that's all I can say about it. But if he did do it, like I don't see any of that stuff as an excuse because it's just not. You have it, and you got to take yourself out of certain situations. It's no different with somebody that can't handle their drink, right? They know not to walk into a bar. They know not to put themselves in that situation. So if they walk into a bar and put themselves in that situation, then whatever happens from there is sort of on them. That's sort of the way I view it. But it is what it is. Once again, he hasn't been convicted. He's just been accused. So Mark Barnum, Larson drove into the side. You're going to hear that a lot, but that's because I don't want anybody to take anything I'm saying out of context. Larson drove into the side of Preece, so it was racing. Yeah, I'm a Larson fan. I didn't have necessarily a problem with what Preece did. I got a chuckle out of it because Preece went on that big tirade about like driving with respect and don't do that and all that. I got a kick out of it that way because at the end of the day, you can only take the high ground if you never wreck somebody. So if you go to the point of where you're wrecking people too, you no longer have the high ground because you're doing exactly what you're talking about other people doing. But sometimes drivers feel like they got to do that to stand up for themselves so people will stop running over them. So I understand it from that perspective too. I have no problem with what Ryan Preece did. But I always get a chuckle out of it. Like same thing last week. Denny Hamlin, he has no moral high ground anymore because he complained about rough driving. Then he goes out there and drives rough the next weekend. I always get a kick out of stuff like that. Race car driver logic, right? Don't drive me rough. Because I'll drive you rough. Jefferson Coaster, Larson Spotter said still there. And Larson still chopped Preece on radioactive. Oh yeah, no doubt about it. He chopped him. I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying he didn't chop him. He chopped him, and he definitely self-cleared himself. There's no doubt about that. Matt Ware, Papa Ware might have to sell off one of his charters to cover his kids. I think Rick Ware is pretty good. I think he's pretty good there. Josh Strickland, I chop folks because I'm usually slower, says Josh. Yeah, so it's one of those deals where you're just making room for yourself. You're killing their momentum. You're doing what you got to do. A lot of times, guys that have a long run car will do it to guys that have a short run car. That's typically when you see it the most, especially on short tracks. Napa Racing Fan says, can we please try Eldora for a dirt race? We should do real dirt track racing before we completely throw out the dirt concept. So what I think the most popular thing that most people want to see is a dirt race on Eldora or I-55 or whatever real dirt track. And they want to make it an exhibition, and they want to get real dirt racing late models on there because that would put on a better show. So I think that's what most people, from the comments I've read, that's what most people would like to see. Tip Jackson says, seems like Cole Custer would be a natural fit for the 5-1. So I don't know. That could be a situation that arises. It is going to be, I guess, interesting who they put in it, but without some backing or something, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. Because we saw John Hunter Nemechek. John Hunter Nemechek had a pretty good rookie year, but he couldn't do anything better than I think a 25th in that Rick Ware equipment. But if you can get the Rick Ware equipment that occasionally Stuart Haas gives them when Stuart Haas prepares the car, then maybe you would see something there. Greg Staten says Davenport said the Cup car is not suited for dirt racing. I think that's what a lot of them feel like. That's what I'm saying. If you have an exhibition race, you can race dirt late models. So I think making it an exhibition race, racing at a real dirt track, that would actually help it more than anything. And it could replace the Clash, right? The Clash could be a dirt race every year. That would be pretty cool, right? Jefferson Coaster says, I wish the race was not Easter. I think that hurts it too, right? Like a lot of people talk about it, but I don't think a lot of people understand. I don't think there's too many other major sports that have games or do anything else like that on Easter either, because people have their plans for Easter, and a lot of them are not going to go to a racetrack if there's a race on Easter. OJ and Toothpaste says they might keep Barry in the 9 and move Chase to the 51 when he gets back. Adam Stern and Bob Pockris reported that a couple of hours ago on Earth 2. Of course, that's what's going to happen. That Earth 2, that's definitely a situation that could definitely happen on Earth 2. Where Chase Elliott finally gets called up to the championship 51 team there. So there you go. Let's see. Mark Barnum, I can see Deegan in the Xfinity car for Ware, but not in the Cup car. I think Haley Deegan will do some more Xfinity starts this season. If I'm a guessing person, who she drives for is anybody's guess. Napa Racing Fan says Kyle Larson versus Ryan Preece. Larson versus his former crew chief Chad Johnston, or both. I think they both let it go after this. Focused on what they've got to do, and that's racing and getting good results. I don't see either one of those guys necessarily getting back at another guy or anything like that. So I think they're both going to let it go. I don't think they're going to milk the drama like some drivers would. Mark Barnum says SHR backed. Talking about on the Haley Deegan deal, I'm pretty sure it would be SHR backed if she got in there. No doubt about it, or Cole Custer, either way. So, yeah, I think if Cole Custer got in there, maybe it would be SHR backed. I'm not sure. E. Damon Racing says just a new update on Chicago shutting the city for 6 in the summer. LOL. I hate to live there. President shows up in LA. You need a helicopter. Yeah, so that's one thing I saw. Like the new, I guess the new mayor or whatever, he's not happy with the traffic situation. He said basically that they lied about it, and it's going to be a bigger inconvenience than they made it out to be. So he's not happy with it. So I'm basically, if you want to see this Chicago road street course race, you better go watch this one, because I don't think it's going to happen twice if they even get this one in. Because people are starting to have doubts that this one will get in. I don't know. I'm not up there. I don't know the inner workings of how things go on up there. But you better watch this one if you want to watch it. I'm a retired officer, and trust me, we need to wait for this Cody stuff to run its course, says Nathan Urick. Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I want to give the guy his day in court, no doubt about it, because like I said, I ran off the other ones that we've already seen in other athletics and things like that, which would relatively compare to sport here. So we've seen people say things in the past that weren't true. So we'll just have to let it play out. And I'm definitely going to give the guy his fair due process, I think is what they call it. So Claude Avila says the Iceberg YouTube channel dealt with the Chicago race. Yeah, I haven't seen his either, but I did see that he dropped a Chicago video near and dear to his heart, I'm sure. So definitely check that one out if you want the full rundown, because he always does a good job on his videos for sure. Not that he needs me to plug him, but the Iceberg has a good channel if you want to check him out. Way more subscribers than I've got. Napa Racing Fan, terrible week for NASCAR. Owners boycott, colleague appeal result. Bristol Dirt being the Bristol spin race. Yeah, and Cale Yarborough not doing well. And now Cody Ware. Yeah, it's been a negative news cycle. That is for sure. Unfortunately, every time NASCAR gets a real big news cycle, unfortunately, it happens more often than not to be negative. So we'll try to turn that around. Hopefully, it only gets better from here, says Napa Racing Fan. I hope so too. So hopefully it'll get better news cycles from here on out. Innocent until proven guilty, says Angus 420. Yeah, I'm 100% there with you. Like I said, we don't even know the woman's name. We don't know if it was his girlfriend or what. So we don't even know who's accusing him, which is fine. I mean, there's reasons we don't know that as well. So we'll just have to let it play out in court and see what happens. So that's the best you can do. Say cow, not cow. Unfortunately, the tearing down of someone's life, livelihood, and reputation is way more important for bread and circuses than waiting to see the facts. Yeah, 100%. And that's why I made that video short, and I just cut to the point and made it short and sweet, because now that I get paid to do YouTube videos, like, I didn't feel great making a video about that situation and actually profiting from it. So like, I don't know, but I felt like it also was disingenuous of me to ignore a story like that. So it's a weird situation to be in for me as well, because like I said, the only thing I can really say is let's just wait to see how this plays out. But this is what he's accused of. So and it is what it is. And like, you can extrapolate it either way. If he's guilty, he's a bad person. If the person accusing him is lying, then they're a bad person. So that's really all you can say about it until we hear all the details in court. Robin Mark says Austin Dillon did great. I was hoping he'd win. Yeah, Austin Dillon, I think he surprised a lot of people. Like, I know he ran dirt late models, so I know he's pretty good on dirt. But I think he surprised a lot of people. And he even said it in the post-race interview. He's like, when you go to these tracks that have weird configurations that are hard to master, typically those are the tracks I run good at. So like, he even said it himself, which is what I've been saying. Like, every once in a while, Austin Dillon wakes up and just has a great race and looks like he's an elite driver. And then every other race he runs like, 15th to 10th or 11th. So, which is not bad either. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think he's a top 16 driver, but because he's typically in the playoffs more times than he's not. But he's definitely, I wouldn't say he's a top 5 driver yet, but his confidence seems to be a lot higher now that he's got Kyle Busch as a teammate. I will say that. T-Van says, what's up, BB and everyone? Skeeters are already out in Indiana. It's only been warm for like a day. Man, I saw a black snake in the yard. I think they're called a king snake. I saw a king snake out in the yard. I was like, man, the snakes are already out. I was like, that was crazy. I haven't seen any mosquitoes yet, but I was surprised to see a black snake out this early. He must have been super hungry. Not a fan of dirt races, but I got to say this was an awesome one. In my opinion, the rain Friday helped settle and set the track. But if they went with a dedicated dirt track, it would be no worry. Yeah, I think a dedicated dirt track would help, and especially if you made it, like I said earlier, make it a exhibition race and then put the dirt late models on it, a proper dirt racing car. That would be more fun. T Van says, "Cheer up, BB." I'm not in a bad mood at all. Like it just bummed me out that so many people immediately jumped to is Dale Jr. going to buy the charter and didn't even care that somebody might have been like hurt, or vice versa, that somebody might be telling a fib to get Cody Ware in trouble. So it just depends on how it plays out, you know. But it did disappoint me that was literally some people's first thought when they saw that news. Like, this guy's in trouble because of this. Oh, is Dale Jr. going to get a charter? I was like, God, like I don't know. Like I don't know. To me, that's just not how it is. That's not the world I want to live in. But it is what it is. To each their own. Napa racing fan, I agree. Innocent until proven guilty at the moment. The Ware incident doesn't make NASCAR look good. Yeah. It's not a good look whenever something like this happens, right? Like you saw it in the NFL with Ray Rice, right? They actually had video of that one. So I think hopefully like no video or anything like that comes out, because that's when it really hits the fan, when you can actually see some video of something. If it happened, I'm not saying he's guilty or did it or anything like that. I'm saying typically when you see video and stuff like that, that's when it takes it up to another level. So let's see here. Aaron Flynn says, I think they should not take points away from teams until after the appeal process. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, that would make sense, right? If it gets appealed, immediately the points go back in play. So that definitely makes sense, 100%. I'm with you on that one, Aaron. Say Kyle, not Kyle. Everyone wants to race at a real dirt track until parking is a nightmare and there's no Wi-Fi. That's a fair point. Although at most tracks I go to, even the NASCAR tracks, except recently at Daytona and Phoenix, and people have said Kansas has it too. There's good Wi-Fi at those tracks, I know, but every other racetrack I go to has crappy Wi-Fi anyway. The concession stand runs out for the crowd that overstresses the venue's capacity. Yeah, that's true. But even it wasn't necessarily a NASCAR race, but at Wilkesboro, all that stuff happened and still nobody complained. They actually ran out of beer. Like how often do you hear that at a race? They ran out of beer at Wilkesboro at some point. Claude Avila says F1 and IndyCar don't race on Easter. Yep. I think Easter is part of the problem with that particular date as well. T-Van, the world is messed up. That's why I turned to the Garden Gnome channel. I appreciate it. I don't have the full Garden Gnome going, but we got some mini gnome going right here. Let's see here. Say Kyle, not Kyle. I'm fine with Bristol dirt, but only if it's 2 concrete races and the third race is dirt. Would you rather see an all-star? Hate the non-competitive pit stops. Yeah, so a lot of people are switched off by the non-competitive pit stops. They don't bother me so much for an all-star race or a dirt race, but a lot of people have felt some kind of way about it in the truck series. To me, it doesn't bother me in the truck series because I remember an era when the truck series had nothing but non-competitive pit stops. And of course, every weekend in late model, we most of the time we have a twin race instead of running the full 125. But when you run the full 125, they normally have a halftime break where you change tires and stuff like that. So I don't know. I guess I'm just so used to it at certain other type of races that I don't even think about it. But I'm sure a lot of people do not like the non-competitive pit stops as well. I do like the fact that the All-Star race has the pit stops, the pit crews determine the starting position for the heat races. Like it's based off of how fast your pit crew gets the job done. So I do like that. Mark Barnum says, I would like to hear how ticket sales are for the Chicago race. Yeah, that would be interesting. They've been sort of tight-lipped about that. I'm sure it'll sell out no matter what they've got to do to make it sell out, even if they got to buy the tickets themselves. I'm pretty sure it'll sell out either way. I'm starting to think that Lori L. realized she wasn't going to win and signed off on the race intentionally to make it a local political nightmare for the next mayor. Says, say Kyle, not Kyle. Politics are crazy. You never know when they're going to do what they're going to do. That's given her a lot of credit because a lot of people say she's not that smart. I don't know. I don't follow politics. To be totally honest with you. So I don't know, but a lot of people saying she's not that smart to pull something like that off. I don't know. I don't want to get into that. William Wagaman says, are the tickets really $400 a day in Chicago? I've heard they're up there. I don't know how much they are. I know the ones for Wilkesboro are insanely high. Iceberg got me back into NASCAR, says Angus 420. Yeah, he's got a great channel. He's one of the best ones out there, in my opinion. And he does. And what makes him even better is he's there every single day, just about like every single work day, I should say. Every single work day, you're going to have a video from the Iceberg, super consistent, and they're always high quality. So that's very rare in anything. So good on him. Let's see here. Tim Race, hey, BB, what are your thoughts on NASCAR's decision to throw a caution for the 8, but leaving the track green with the 12 spinning in front of the field? I understand that they were trying to get an exciting finish, and if you look at it through the vein of NASCAR is always trying to get an exciting finish, you understand why NASCAR police end races the way they police them. That's why you get the sports entertainment cautions and stuff like that. So it didn't surprise me, but for an organization that always harps on safety, they held that flag a long time. I'll agree with you on that. Rouse number 1 says, hold your opinions until we know the facts. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it too, 100%. Sky Talent, I feel bad for Preece this year. Man has worse fortune than Blaney. Something always breaks when he's running good. Hopefully he breaks through at Martinsville since he's good on the short tracks. Ryan Blaney, once again, first off, a lot of people are letting Chase Briscoe off the hook. If this had been Ross Chastain, this would have been covered from here until the end of time. But because it's Chase Briscoe, and this is what I'm talking about, NASCAR wants good guys and bad guys. But because it's Chase Briscoe, nobody is talking about this, right? Kyle Larson, chopped off Ryan Preece. Nobody's talking about it. They're talking about Preece wrecking Kyle Larson, right? So certain drivers get the benefit of the doubt. But if Ross Chastain, for the love of God, had wrecked Ryan Blaney, it would be the end of the world. That would be all we were talking about this week, other than the 51 driver, right? So it's sort of weird how that stuff works. T-Man says, as someone that's disabled, I prefer to sit in the grass at Eldora rather than the stands at Bristol. Depending on your stands, I'm with you there. Depending on your stands, sometimes the grass is better. It's better on your back. It's better than sitting and standing on that concrete. It's better for your joints all the way around. So I understand where you're coming from. Shaw says, Bologna Burger, did you get a perfect job reporting on where you did a perfect job reporting on where mainstream could learn from you? Says Shaw. I appreciate it. I did my best on that one. Like I said, I didn't really want to touch on it until after he had gone through his legal process and all that. But I also I felt like I couldn't ignore a story that big either. So I felt like I had to say something about it. So I tried to keep it brief and to the point. So yeah, maybe they could, instead of sowing division in mainstream, which is what I think they do, which is why I don't watch any of them. So I'm not picking on the individual one you watch. I think that's what they all do, because they do it for ratings, and that's how they get paid. And that's why they've been labeled as entertainment here recently, right? I heard somebody say they've all been labeled as entertainment. Anyway, that's not about NASCAR. Let's move on. Streamlabs says, hey, BB, I can't stick around tonight, but drop in my and watch. We'll watch the replay later. Later, everyone. Thanks for hanging out, Streamlabs. Always good to have you on here. Say Kyle Nakal says, BB, should Austin Dillon be on the NASCAR top 75 list? It's going to be super hard because they just put Stefanik in today, which means they're going to take guys that are really good from other things. But then again, you got to look at Austin Dillon from Trucks and Xfinity. I think there's a way he could sneak in, but I would really have to sit down and think about it and look at everybody. It wouldn't surprise me if he somehow snuck in, but I don't like putting an active driver in there because you don't know how their career is going to end. And it surely wouldn't surprise me if he was left off. But I think, depending on how things fall, you could make an argument for him to get in there. It's just going to be personal preference. But I think I could probably name. I think once they name the full 75, like I said, I'll try to make a video on that. And I think I'll probably focus more on the drivers that got left out than the drivers that I got in. So it's going to be interesting either way. It's a hard task. It's just a hard task. Let's see here. Tip Jackson. I don't think it looks very good for Cody. Police typically don't charge for choking if there aren't some kind of marks around the neck, says Tip. I don't know. Like I said, we'll have to see how it plays out. I don't want to jump the gun either way. So it'll play itself out, and we'll get all the details from the case if it goes to trial. If maybe they settle it out of court or something like that. But if it goes to court, we'll get all the details, and we'll go from there. I don't want to speculate because I don't have any knowledge on it, so I don't want to speculate on it. Benjamin Lewis says I picked 100 ticks off me after looking for mushrooms. So there you go. The ticks are definitely out. As soon as there's like a little bit of sunshine, those rascals come out. Did we already talk about Cody? Says Rook. Yeah, we've talked about him. So if you want me to say something else, just pop it in here. I'll answer the question if I can. Putting dirt on Bristol is a sin, says Shy. That's the other thing. If it wasn't Bristol, if it was maybe another track that they were doing this to, I don't think as many people would want the dirt off of it. Angus 420 says make Texas a big dirt track, or just use the big dirt track they got out back behind it. Either way. But yeah, I'm with you, Angus. Texas is a perfect place to have a dirt race because most of the tracks in Texas are already dirt. 14 was a knucklehead, one of the drivers that needs to be sent to the back with the car spun, like KB said. I like that. So that's another thing we can touch on. Drivers have got to learn to lift as opposed to driving through folks. I'm 100% with that, and I think I've said that on the channel a few times, but I'm glad Kyle Busch actually brought it up. If you're involved in the incident, you go to the back of the field. That will make people drive with respect, 100%. That's how we do it in late models, and that's the way it should be done. So I think Kyle Busch makes a perfect point there. Let's see here. Shy laughing at Angus, and Shy says, perfect. Not been warm enough up here in Iowa for the mushrooms yet, says Mark Barnum. So William Wagaman, Angus 420, absolutely no. What about Kurt years ago? Says Philip Canavan. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Let's let the due process happen. And I did mention Kurt earlier when I was talking. But yeah, every once in a while, it's a situation where somebody didn't tell the truth and it almost ruined somebody's life. So that's what I'm saying. Let's just let it play out until we get the facts. There's no need to talk about them. Let him have his day in court, as they say. Watkins Glen dirt race. Only if it's a figure eight with a jump in the middle. Angus 420, but only part of the track. Oh, so that would be like a rally course at that point. They used to have some rally courses where part of it was gravel, part of it was tarmac or asphalt, and part of it was dirt. So that would be a NASCAR rally race. So that would be cool. They won't run out of the BL anywhere, says old home guy. So yeah. Not going to get into the Bud Light controversy, other than to say I don't think that they paid attention to their target market, and maybe NASCAR could learn something from that. If you don't pay attention to your target market, it will cost you money. Now, maybe they felt it was the moral high ground thing to do, but it wasn't financially intelligent of them to do that, as they're finding out. Napa Racing Fan and NASCAR, I think eventually is going to find that out too. If you've looked at the ratings here recently, thoughts on NASCAR on the All-Star race format? Love it. Total simplicity. Yeah, I do like the All-Star race, and I think Dale Jr. had a heavy hand in that. So kudos to him for that good policy there. As far as the way he formatted the All-Star race, it's simple, it's easy to keep up with, and like you said, it makes sense. As a Canadian that will never see a live race, my dream is to go to a Martinsville track and try a red hot dog, says Shaw. So they're called. I don't know if you got them in Canada, but they're just Jesse James hot dogs. They're pretty popular and common here in the South. So if you ever see a Jesse James hot dog, that's the hot dogs they use, and then they just put mustard, coleslaw, which is a sweet coleslaw, mustard, coleslaw, and chili. And it used to be Bunker Hill chili, but I don't think they make Bunker Hill chili anymore, or at least I can't find it around here. So probably Texas Pete chili would be the next closest thing. So let's see here. Say Kyle Not Cal. It was funny to hear drivers calling out adjustment requests in stage 2, and the crew chiefs keying up basically like, yeah, about that. We're staying out forever, says Say Kyle Not Cal. Yeah, that was pretty cool. The tires didn't fall off, so that added another interesting layer to it too. It made it more like a late model race. The only good thing about Bristol last weekend was it ended under caution. LOL, says E. Damon Racing. The way races should end. When the caution comes out that late, in my opinion. I like the non-competitive pit stops. It's better than stage cautions, in my opinion, says Angus 420. So, yeah, I think it's a mixed bag there on that one. Old Home Guy says Preece won't let anyone tread on his NASCAR chance. Yes, I mean, I see where he's coming from 100%. Like I said, even as a Larson fan, I don't blame the guy at all for what he did. Like, he got chopped and he decided to give it back to him. I got no problem with that. That's you watch any short track any Saturday night, you're going to see that, or Friday night if you go to Ace Speedway. I've got an asphalt concrete car. I've run dirt 6 times. It's rough as heck if it's not a dirt car. Yeah. So that's a fair point. If it's not built for dirt, it's not fun, right? I think a lot of drivers said that. Even Jonathan Davenport said that. He's one of the dirt aces. Clash, Indy Road Course, Chicago Street Course, and Bristol Dirt need to be replaced by Iowa, Milwaukee Mile, Eldora, and Nashville Fairgrounds. I think a lot of people would probably agree with you, no doubt about it. The problem with most of these YouTubers is they talk way too slow. Your cadence is awesome and your pace is fast. You are my favorite channel. I appreciate it, Ross number one. I try to make them short and sweet. I know YouTube rewards you for the longer of a video you make, but you know what? I just they taught me back a long time ago in high school in public speaking. Say what you got to say it and be done with it. Don't trail off and linger on. I still have problems with the verbalized pause. If you play the bologna burger consuming game, I do the a lot on these, so I'm trying to work on that. But yeah, so there you go. Napa Racing fan, random thought. Too bad the spring Kansas race that the fans named Bushy McBush race in 2021 wasn't named My Name is Earl 400 since the show took place in Camden, Kansas. Yeah, so that's another point of contention. Did it happen in Camden, Kansas? Did it happen in Camden, New Jersey, or which Camden did it happen on? That's actually a point of debate in the My Name is Earl circles. You can make an argument for either one. Uncle Bones with the super chat, man. He said F Ryan Preece. So there you go. Not all Kyle Larson fans are happy with Ryan Preece. Let's see here. Ross wrecked me last week. I still like him, says Josh Strickland. Rob Royer says it's always Ross Chastain's fault, right? Rob Royer says all I know is Ryan Preece looks like a pretty big boy, and I don't think Kyle wants much of him. Kyle Larson is like 5'7", 135 or 145 pounds. He doesn't want none of anybody. He's not that guy. Like he knows his limits. Like that's why he didn't test Bubba. Let's be real. Old Home Guy, I'd wreck someone if they damaged my Yugo. I would too, especially if you see the price of a used Yugo right now. I'd wreck them all. I'd wreck them so hard they became part of the wall. Let's see here. For entertainment purposes only, I was just joking. Aaron Flynn qualifying for the All-Star race is going to be off pit road challenge this year. So I've heard, yeah, that's going to be a really cool thing. I'm glad that they got the pit crews back involved in it again. Did you hear $400 for a NASCAR race in Chicago? NASCAR, right? Not F1, says E. Damon. Yeah, so apparently that is the price of the tickets because I've seen that 2 or 3 times in here tonight. So if that's the price of the ticket, that's going to be a hard sell for a lot of people. But I guess if you know it's only going to happen one time, because I don't think it's coming back next year, maybe you plunk down that money. Stephen Emilio Jr. says, you're exactly right. No one's talking about Chase Briscoe. Kid's been driving through people. He better mind his P's and Q's. And the bad thing is he's a good race car driver. He doesn't have to do that. He just drives crazy like that because he's Chase Briscoe. So it is what it is. Speedway Anywhere. I couldn't believe it when Cody Ware thing made national news first thing in the mornings. So yeah, like it was pretty. As far as like news goes, it was pretty random to see Cody Ware trending, and then when you saw why Cody Ware was trending, you're like, oh my goodness, this is terrible news, right? So it was just one of those things, right? So, but like I said, before I jump on it any further, we'll let him have his due day in court, and then see what happens from there. Hands down, Tony deserves being that. Hell, he deserves being in the top 50. Oh, talking about Tony Stewart, named to the 75 either today or yesterday. So yeah, for sure. And I think Mike Stefanik was the guy today. I think Tony Stewart was yesterday. Mike Stefanik was today. And the other thing I saw going around the internet was who's the best Joe Gibbs driver of all time. And it's got Tony Stewart and Kyle Busch both trending on social media right now. Hey, Stephanie Briscoe owned it, says Roush number one. Who is going to drive Cody's car full time, says Escobar. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Mark Barnum laughing at Bones, saying F. Ryan Preece. Martinsville dirt. I don't know. Maybe you could get one Martinsville race on dirt. Martinsville used to be a dirt track back in the day, if I'm not mistaken. BB, who do you think will drive the 51? Oh, it's a toss-up, man. I have no clue. Take your pick. I mean, just go look at the 4 drivers they've got in the development pipeline. Maybe Zane Smith, Cole Custer, Riley Herbst, one of those guys, whoever's got the most funding, right? Big Hat Byron, I don't know, man. Preece could earn a whole lot more top 10s and top 5s and definitely a couple wins. He's running mid-pack. He can't demand respect when he's running in the 20s most weeks. Yeah, so I won't lie. Of course, when it happened initially before I saw the replay, I did crack a joke to my friend. I said, well, he has to wreck him now because he definitely won't see him any time at any other race. And then my friend, who's a Ford fan, says he'll probably see him at Martinsville because Kyle Larson sucks at Martinsville. So he gave it right back to me. So it was pretty good there. Pretty good exchange. So everyone was defended properly there. But yeah, that's a fair point. I understand what you're saying. Digging in the 10 with your daddy, says Aaron Flynn. Can we put dirt on the Chicago street race? Hey, there you go. A crossover event for sure. Hey, y'all from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, says Cassandra Keller, the little kitten. What's up, Cassandra? What's up, Coeur d'Alene? What's up, Idaho? T-Van street course in downtown LA. Oh, man. All the people without homes will have a front row seat. San Francisco is getting crazy. How about the I don't want to talk about it, but the dude that created the what was it? The PayPal app or whatever, Cash App. Create a Cash App. How about that? Down in San Francisco. Getting crazy over there. Shah says, give me an abandoned military air base and I'll give you an asphalt concrete dirt track. Bring your own chair for the first couple years. Lots of food and beverage all will be available, says Shah. So yeah, there you go. Back in the day, NASCAR used to run, like in the early NASCAR days, they ran a lot of old airports, Air Forces for sure, Air Force bases. Delmar Kaufman, Jesse Jones, Red Hot Dogs. I will have a few this weekend. There you go. I'll be there with you. Hopefully the weather holds off, but I should be there for the truck, Xfinity, and Cup race. So I will be out there. If you see me, feel free to throw a hand up and say what's up. Rob says, I'll give it up for a dirt race at Bristol. It was pretty good, but they should go north a little bit and race Eldora because it will work once, twice, 3 times with the Prelude. Oh, yeah. Like I said, I think if it went to Eldora, that would be a huge win, especially if they could make an exhibition race and put them in actual dirt late models. That would be good. Say Kyle, not Kyle. I'm working on it. Yeah, there you go. Be right back. I got to run to the fridge now. Says say Kyle, not Kyle. Yeah, so there is a consumption game. Find out the rules from your local Bologna Burger Media affiliate, I guess. BB, great, says Shah. Angus 420 went to the deli counter at the grocery store one time, and they had a big bologna that was about 3 feet long and 6 inches in diameter, and it looked like a giant hot dog. So there you go. That's the way you do it. Then you cut it to your thickness, and you're ready for a proper bologna burger. T-Van, has it been confirmed on Crafton or being the relief driver for Ware? I don't know. I haven't heard anything as far as that goes, so we'll just have to wait and see. Hey, BB, how's it going down there? Nice and warm up here in Nova Scotia today. It started off cold for the south here. It was like 37 degrees this morning at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock or whatever. And then it was 74 when I was driving home today at 5:30. So pretty nice pickup in temperature. So it was a nice day. Joshua Thaxton says, not saying it's right, but Ware's past behavior probably contributed to the insensitive reporting. I think that's probably fair. They connected dots before they had all the facts because of his past. I will agree with that. And like I said, I'm just waiting for him to have his day in court before I, throw him under the bus or anything like that. I'm gonna let him have his day in court. How did you like the Bristol? Nicole Wembley says, how did you like the Bristol race on a scale of 1 to 10? I think it was okay. Too many cautions that were thrown for no reason. Unpredictable as always. It probably would have been a really good race without the cautions. I'm right there with you. So I'd probably put it at like a 4 to a 6, somewhere in there. Because I think without the cautions, it would have been a good race. Because it was good racing when they were going, but there were just too many cautions. So I gotta put it at probably a 5. Let's just split the difference. I'll put it at a 5, maybe a 6, depending on how your driver did. So I don't know. Josh Strickland says, used to be a waiting list at Bristol for tickets. We paid $2,000 for 5 weekend tickets. Last time I went, I paid $45 for a ticket at the track. So there you go. You can show up and get one at the gate now. It is definitely a fall from grace. I remember that for sure. As a say Kyle Not Cal says, as a 5'7", 120-pound dude, I totally get Larson not wanting to scrap. At that size, there's no boxing. It's either defuse the situation or go for a jiu-jitsu move that probably the overseers don't want me to say that particular word, although I probably said it because of the allegations earlier. So I don't know. But yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from on that one. Before I was a great big adult, I was at one point scrawny myself. So I feel you on that one. Ryan Perez says Stewart was 2 days ago. Stewart was 2 days ago. Casey Kane was yesterday, and so Mike Stefanik was today. So there you go. A lot of people throwing a lot of support behind all them. I should have remembered Casey Kane was yesterday because I put out that tweet. Casey Kane with a crazy statistic. He has an average finish of like 1.16 in the truck series because he has done nothing but win, and then he had 1 second place, I think, in his 6 starts. So yeah, crazy average finish in the truck series for Casey Kane. Old home guy, Jeremy Mayfield has my vote for the 51 or Ryan Newman. Ryan Newman, hey, there you go. Get somebody else in there that could probably bring a little bit of sponsorship. So I don't know. Be interesting to see what happens. Like I said, of course, the more important thing is for Cody Ware to go through his due process and see what happens, because we'll have to wait on that to see which way it goes for sure. Napa Racing Fan 927 says some drivers they will be are obvious: Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Matt Kenseth, Carl Edwards, Denny Hamlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ryan Newman, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, Ron Hornaday Jr., etc. I threw Ron Hornaday Jr. in there just because if Mike Stefanik gets in, I feel like Ron Hornaday Jr. gets in too. Roush Code, but yeah, I'm with you. Some are definitely going to be obvious. I feel like Tony Stewart was obvious. So Roush Code number 1, BB anti-Ford, huh? Says Roushco, I'm not anti-Ford, but back in the day when I was an Earnhardt fan, I was definitely anti-Ford. So yeah, but that's part of it. It's part of the fun. Like I said, a long time ago, before this channel got popular, this was just sort of like water cooler trash talk. So I would defend Kyle Larson and Chevrolet. But now that it's gotten bigger, I just play it down the middle. I don't have anything against any driver or any brand, to be honest with you. I think I showed the plaque. Is it still up there? I got a plaque somewhere in here of when I used to work at Ford. So even when I was a diehard Earnhardt senior fan, I was working at Ford. So it is what it is. It wasn't like I had anything against any brand. Napa Racing Fan, they added current drivers for the top 50 ceremony in 1998. So yeah, there you go. That's true. It's just going to be tricky to add current drivers because you don't know which way their careers are going to go. So it is what it is. Like if you picked Ryan Newman that year that he won 6 races and put him in there, you'd be like, oh yeah, he's going to be one of the best ever. But then after that, he only won like 1 or 2 races a year after that. So it just depends on when you name that driver. So that's what I'm saying. It's probably better to let a driver's career finish, but I know they're not going to because they're going to try to create some buzz around it. Dakota Henderson says, since Chase Elliott is coming back, maybe coming back soon, maybe Josh Berry could drive the 51. That might be I was thinking about that myself. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for sure. And that's a situation. Would Josh Berry want to drive the 51? So it's one of those deals too. Some drivers don't want to get in a car after they've sat in a really good car, he's a Chevrolet driver. That's a Ford. So there's a lot of things that play into that. Let's do a NASCAR rallycross race, says Danny Price. I think that would be pretty cool for sure. Rob Rohr says, I can see it now racing in Hazard, Georgia in the holler. It would be a holler race, not a street race. Says Rob for sure. Dukes the Hazard reference there, of course, for those who didn't catch it. E. Damon Racing, I hear Dillon Mulvaney on his route to destroying all brands will be the Grand Marshal at Martinsville this week. LOL, says E. Damon. I don't know. I'm gonna stay away from that one. I just know that as far as target markets, Budweiser, I don't think paid attention to their target market on that one, or at least the market that buys the most of their beer. Old home guy said, now they might have done it on purpose because they don't want that market anymore, but it is what it is. I don't think financially they made a smart choice for the investors is all I'm getting at there. I'm not morally standing one way or the other on that one. Everybody can make their own opinion on that stuff. I don't get into it. Everybody just should live their own life, in my opinion. Nice in Minnesota. Cars are showing up from a long time. Snow blanket, says old home guy. Hey, there you go. Always good to see your cars again after a nice huge winter of snow, I'm sure. Never had that problem down here, but I can imagine. Jay Campbell says, good to see another new winner. I'm putting it out there. Chastain misses the playoffs, and I feel really bad for anyone within 10 cars of him for the Daytona night race. So yeah, a lot of people not happy with Chastain. But like I said, Chase Briscoe basically drives the same way, but you don't hear anything about him. So it's just funny which ones they pick on and which ones they don't. Danny Moore says, time to sweep the leg. Sweep the leg, Johnny. Escobar says Matt Kenseth in the 51. I don't know if Matt Kenseth's coming back. I don't think he really liked this new car when he was driving the 42. So Jimmy Johnson wins before the All-Star race. Can he get in? I think he would be in, but I think you have to be a full-time driver to be locked in as a past champion of the All-Star race. So he's not automatically locked in as it is. But yeah, if he can get a win before that, I think he would lock in. My mom used to make stuffed bologna, sliced bologna wrapped around turkey stuffing, then baked. I've never actually had that one, Danny Price, so I have to check that one out. Sandra Keller says, I'm curious to see what will happen with Ware Racing as far as sponsorship. I mean, yeah, I think that's probably a legitimate concern, but I think Rick Ware has some part of the Jacobs or whatever, the company that always sponsors him anyway, but it will be interesting to see what happens. I hadn't even thought about that. But yeah, that'll be something to watch as well. OJ and Toothpaste, I don't know if this is a hot take, but Austin Dillon is not a top 75 race car driver of all time, just saying. I mean, I don't think it's a hot take either. I'm just saying, depending on like who's voting and all that, you never know. These things go sideways and crazy from time to time. The Ford sign is in the women's room, says Danny Moore. So there you go. Always a little banner as to which team you pull for. Casey Kane is in there. It's kind of a reach, maybe, says OJ and Toothpaste. And see, that's what I'm saying. Like it depends on your driver. I'm gonna wait till I see all the drivers in there and the ones that should have been in there that they forgot about, so I can look like a genius. That's the 75 out. I don't make a personal 75 list of my own, so I can't be criticized. I criticize them for making their 75 list because it's just one of the hardest things to do. Is to make a 75 greatest of anything. Escobar, honestly, I see Haas pushing for Cole Custer in the 51. Could be for sure. I think Josh Berry in a Ford would be a conflict of interest, says Tip Jackson. I think so too. So I think he might be one of the ones you can cancel out of that one. Josh Strickland, thick slice of bologna and government cheese is a good sandwich, says Josh Strickland. Oh, no doubt about it. Government cheese is definitely the best cheese, at least in the United States. And bologna, you can't beat bologna with a nice thick slice of cheese on it. At South Boston, they put a little nacho cheese on it from time to time if you want to spice things up. So that's a good change up. David Cormier says it was nice in New Brunswick. It was nicer in New Brunswick than it was in Nova Scotia. So there you go. Are they provinces in Canada? Different provinces. I think they're called provinces. I'm not sure. Or are they called states? I don't know. Surprise, surprise. Americans are bad at geography. Aaron Flynn, and I was a former history major, and I'm still bad at geography. Aaron Flynn says, Chicago tickets I got for 3 was expensive. Imagine a body shop in a rural area. Going to be surrounded by folks from Wall Street. Yeah, it's a crazy dynamic whenever you have a street race or anything like who's rubbing shoulders with who, right? I see Zane Smith in the 51, says Mark Barnum. I think that could be a situation too. Shah says, calling all Canadians in chat, can we get Jesse Jones hot dogs here? There you go. Start a petition or something. I don't know how that works. Riley Herbst in the 51 ran for Rick Ware Racing Daytona 500. Not saying that's the right call, but a possibility. He brings sponsorship, so definitely a very viable possibility there. I got a B-Day coming up, and I think I want a Martinsville hot dogs for my special dinner, says Shah. So, I mean, check them out. Like I said, I grew up eating them my whole life, so they're not as special to me because you can actually just get them anytime you want to down here, I guess. But it's definitely a cool thing that people get hyped up for that are not from the Martinsville. Get hyped up for it too. It's just part of the history. If you're from LA or something like that, you just get hyped up for it. Although a Dodger dog, I think, is like a really big hot dog. I don't know. OJ and Tupe says, man, imagine the NASCAR 75 greatest drivers released in Darlington on Earth 2. Who would be the top 5? Oh, Jimmy Means, I don't know. I feel like Jimmy Means would be number one, though. He had a long career of not winning, even though he had a few good years in the 70s, I think. The Martinsville weather forecast looks grim. Still debating about buying a ticket, says Tim Brace. I'm already locked in, so I got to suffer through it like I always do. So that's not even a thought process for me, but I feel you on that one. Say Kyle Nickel, I think Martin Truex Jr. flipping the car is how Kenseth felt on the inside all year that season. That could be true. Forward sign is in the ladies' room because it's showing them what real men drive. Says Tip Jackson. So there you go. A little more forward band. I can't imagine racing in the 77 car or the 51 or even the 15 at times. Just riding around, getting lapped, and not fast at all. Must be boring. Like, why even show up? Yeah, it's definitely not fun. If you remember back in the day, Ross Chastain was in that 15 car. So eventually, if you stick it out long enough, maybe you get a chance, because that's how he got his chance. Joshua Thaxton, gut feeling on the chances of NASCAR having an Indy style split. I say better than 51. I mean, it could happen. I don't know. There's a long season for them to get it figured out, but right now it doesn't look good. So I mean, it's always going to be 50-50 to me. So I don't know. Chevy guys like holding hands, says Rook. Fry Baloney, says Danny Moore. Go Joe. Do you see NASCAR doing away with the charter system and giving the teams more TV money? My understanding is that that's on the table. Here's the problem. They made the charter system, and that gave the teams more leverage, right? So this is sort of NASCAR's own making. So NASCAR has incentive to get rid of the charter system. Giving the teams more TV money, that's what the teams want. So this could be a situation where everything plays out for once in the fans' favor, because a lot of fans want to see, teams that can build cars in their backyards come back. So that would be the first step in that direction. Now, it would take a long way for us to get there because of how they're doing the car now, but it would be a step in the right direction for a lot of longtime fans, I think. So I could see that happening, yeah. Here you go. Let's do a concept race with asphalt, dirt, a couple of high bank turns, skyscrapers, and backwoods. It's got to be a better idea than downtown Chicago. I don't know of a ton of people that wanted the Chicago race. There are definitely some people that did want the Chicago race. I don't want to say nobody wanted the Chicago race, but I think there are other venues they could have put the race at that would probably be more popular. I don't know what their hard on for Chicago was, other than it's just a huge metro market. But I don't know. I don't know why they wanted the Chicago street race so bad. I couldn't tell you. What brand is the Martinsville hot dog? It is a Jesse Jones hot dog. Jesse Jones. Let's see. Aaron Flynn, BB with grilled onions and mustard is my choice. Yeah, grilled peppers and onions and mustard is the South Boston style. And then I think chili, cheese, and mustard and onion, raw onion is the Ace Speedway style. And then just cooked onions or grilled onions and mustard, I think, is the Orange County style, if I'm not mistaken. One wise guy, another new winner. Could we have a repeat of last year? Oh, yeah. I think we're well on pace to that. Like, a lot of people speculated that we wouldn't have another year like last year, but it could be that way. We could have 16 or 17 winners. Wow, is that new studio coming along? We're putting in a little bit of work every day. So hopefully it'll be up and going here before too long. Philip says it was warmer here where I live, which is just north of work where Logano and Preece are from, than Florida today. So yeah, that's a rare win for that area for sure. So I think that's Connecticut, right? So yeah, it's rare that Connecticut's warmer than Florida, that's for sure. Brightly Frank's top Jesse Jones, in my opinion, says Tim Brace. Oh, I mean, there's definitely better hot dogs you can get than Jesse Jones, but that's the ones that they use at Martinsville for sure. I personally eat the Hebrew National, 99% fat-free ones. Those are the ones I eat. So let's see here. 79 here in Corn Patch here today, says Mark Barnum. OJ and Toothpaste, would you rather have a hot dogs from Sonic or a Wiener Schnitzel? Wiener Schnitzel all day. I'm not a big Sonic person, other than their Slurpees or Frosties or whatever they're called. Slushes, a Frosty or a slush, Sonic slush. Let's see here. BB is the most balanced person I've listened to in a long time. He always tosses a positive spin on any comments. I do my best because there's no need to have a bad day, right? In the end, it's in the grand scheme of things, it's racing and it's not that big a deal, right? Refreshing. That's a great trait. Only chat you do weekly. I appreciate it, D Damon. I do my best. Like I said, I try to stay positive. It's easy to be negative, so I try to stay positive. If they ditch the charter system, JRM could be in Cup. Says Gojo. Yeah, that's another bonus, right? If you scrap the charter system, for sure. Wiener Schnitzel says Shaw. Yeah, I got you. Ditching the charters would be the death of NASCAR, says Mark Barnum. So yeah, a lot of people feel that way too. Like it would sort of, I don't know, it would sort of get rid of the exclusivity of certain teams. So I don't know. I just noticed the skull hat. That's not a driver hat, is it? That is Daniel Suarez. His Dia de Muerto, I think. Day of the Dead hat or whatever. So that's old Suarez. Let's see. You can't remove the charters. It's impossible, says Napa fan. I think if they gave them enough TV money, that could be the only way they did it. Molten Ray says the thing you can't get rid of the charter system because that's a lot of from the team they invest is gone unless they want to pay the teams the amount of money they lost. It's not leaving. So the way I see it happening is the teams that have charters would get X amount of money for X amount of years from the TV contract above the other teams that don't have charters until eventually they are paid off of that charter. That's probably how that would work. That's what I'm getting at with that. Why don't they just have half go left and half go right on a figure eight with a jump? That would be better than most of the crap we get now, says Danny Moore. So there you go. The old Tony Stewart reference to make it more exciting. Seems great. Now I'm bummed I missed part of it, says Old Home Guy. Jimmy Means is my hero. He's from Alabama. Yeehaw, says Josh Strickland. Yeah, Jimmy Means definitely an all-timer. One of the last guys that did everything on his car in the Cup Series. The team should get both TV money and the charter. So there's another way to play it right there. I don't know how they're going to hold out for that. We're just gonna have to see how the negotiations play out. Shaw says, BB, please supply me with a full, well-written recipe for the Martinsville hot dog. I have about 1.4 months to collect the ingredients. It's my 50th, says Shaw. All right, I'll try to. Let's see. I did the bologna burger thing, so maybe I can go to Martinsville and get some footage of them putting one together for you. Maybe I'll include that in the next or one of the videos I'm going to try to get done this weekend. Bo Darville, not saying I want to see a split, but 900 horsepower low downforce full season points and no stages would be worth it, says the Bandit. I'm down for pretty much all of that. I don't think I see anything in there that I disagree with. Currently 67 in Central Florida, says Say Kyle, not Cal. So that's a little chilly for you guys down there. Let's see here. Did you notice they didn't offer tickets at the end of? Do you have a full parka on? Is my question. Say Kyle, not Cal. 67. Do you have the full winter parka with the fur on the hood? That's my question. One wise guy says, did you notice they don't offer tickets at the end of Sunday? Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I know, like, as soon as, let's see, Martinsville. I think the week after the race at Martinsville, they try to get you to re-up. So typically Martinsville comes close to selling out for the Cup race every time, at least recently every time I've been there. Just make the charter system better by just one charter for every team. Yeah, I mean, I think the best way if you're going to keep a charter system is to give the Xfinity teams charters too, and then the last four in points from Cup are relegated to Xfinity, and the first four in Xfinity that have charters move up the Cup. I think that's the best way to do it. Miss the Sonic guys on commercials, says Old Home Guy. Of course, for that to happen, you would have to have pretty much the exact same chassis in Cup and Xfinity. Miss the Sonic guys on the commercials. Yeah, the Sonic guys were pretty good commercials back in the day. I do miss those guys. That was a good series of commercials. Had a hot dog at Costco the other day. That was pretty good, says Sunny V. My mom, that's like her favorite thing to get because they keep it the same price forever. Shaw says Costco hot dogs are awesome. The only one entire team on a can be chartered. Oh, I see what you're saying. You can't have 4-car teams. I got you now. Yeah, that might be a workaround. I don't know. Can we stop talking about hot dogs? Y'all are making me hungry for them. Also thinking about My Name is Earl episode where they burned the Wienermobile. Oh yeah, he was trying to help the guy out and he ended up burning down his restaurant. Hard Hard to wreck a dog, though, says Shaw. That's true. I'm still sour about Suarez. Princess Cruises, 124th, did not produce. Says Kyle Nakal. Yeah, there were a ton of cars last year that I did not get produced. There were definitely bummers for sure. These NASCAR YouTube channels like NASCAR All Out There, those clickbait ones saying Rick Hendrick is done with NASCAR really annoys me when scrolling for NASCAR videos. I wish YouTube would ban them, says OJ and Toothpaste. Yeah, I mean, it feels like, because clickbaiting is, believe it or not, clickbaiting is one thing you're not supposed to do on YouTube. So they easily could get them for that. So I don't know why they're still around, as many of them as there are, but it could easily be taken down for that. Josh Strickland, charters suck because they are here to stay, in my opinion, says Josh. Yeah, I don't necessarily think they're going anywhere either, but you never know with the negotiations. So like I said, I'm old enough to know you never know. So Aaron Flynn, Earth 2 drivers police themselves, and if you're involved, you go to the rear, says Aaron Flynn. 100%. I'm with you, Aaron Flynn. That's how it works on Earth 2, no doubt. You get internet from Ford, it's bad, says Danny Moore. I know. I'm waiting on Elon Musk to send me the Starlink deal, so hopefully it'll improve when that happens. Ty Dillon actually didn't do too bad on Earth 1 at Bristol. Yeah, for sure. He was running good there for a long time. Then I think he ended up 20-something, so he actually had a pretty good finish all the way around. Chicago Road Rage race, odd if it works. I mean, it could possibly be a good race. That's the one factor I don't think anybody is factoring in there. I think everybody's assuming it's going to be bad. My opinion is, how can you make the charter system better? Just one charter for one entry. It seems like the big teams or car or face did not qualify. I mean, I don't know. There's all kinds of ways you can go about doing it. Ford internet is only bad if you own a Chevy, says Mark Barnum. How thick does the bologna burger need to be? Says Escobar. Do it to your preference. It's literally all to your preference. Some people like them like really thick. Some people like them like you get out of the package, and some people, they'll either double or triple what you would get in an Oscar Mayer slice package. So it's all preference. I don't know, probably about a 1/4 inch is probably what Ace, South Boston, and Orange County do. I'd say probably close to a 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit more. Weather, again, really, this schedule needs to be changed up, says T-Van. Yeah, every Martinsville, the first Martinsville race of every year is always a weather situation. It's been like that forever, as long as I can remember. Say Kyle says the hoodie was on all day and on for the walk. Anything under 73 degrees and the hoodie goes on, no parka, just jeans and hoodies. We don't know what real winter clothes are, says Say Kyle, not Cal. So there you go. The only reason I joke about that is I went to Daytona one year. Well, I forgot even what I went for. I think I just went down there just to visit and maybe go to Daytona USA or something like that. And it was 60 degrees, and I had shorts and a t-shirt on and like a zip-up hoodie. But I saw a dude, like you said, with jeans on, but instead of like just a regular sweatshirt hoodie or whatever, he had on like the full parka with the furry hood thing. And my buddy from Florida, I just looked at him before I could even get anything out of my mouth. He's like, "We're just not used to cold weather down here. Don't say anything." I was like, "All right." And so he knew exactly what I was about to say. Chevy internet would just go into limp mode, says Rook, until it needs the whatever the blue def for your diesel there, your diesel internet. Let's see here. Getting free garage passes for Sonoma this year. And my friend Austin that works at G. Hey, so there you go, OJ and Toothpaste. Look at that. I didn't know Long Johns existed until I was 16. True story. Says Say Kyle, not Cal. They come in handy around here. A little bit further up north than Florida is North Carolina, so we do have to actually use them up here. Fox and MSNBC both need to put their names over the cars. First 25 laps, less 22, 11, 5, 9. I have to really look. Add in a new paint scheme sponsor every week. I missed the Gen 6 days visually. Says E. Damon Racing. And that's what's funny about that is they went to this car so that the sponsors could be bigger. So that's pretty funny. HMS, so excited. Grew up with him in elementary school. Hey, that's pretty cool. Always cool when you can get to see one of your buddies at a racetrack, especially, if you got the infield passes and stuff like that. That's always a rad time. Josh Strickland says, got to go. Peace out. Denny sucks. So Josh Strickland letting us know that in his opinion, Denny Hamlin still sucks. Costco cake for the win, says Mike Ora. I haven't had the Costco cake. Sorry to hear the situation regarding Mr. Ware. If saying it is what it is ever replied, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, I mean, that's all you can say until the process happened. This year is even worse for diecast because the prices, what the heck, says Moulton. Yeah, they go up every year. This year they've gone up a lot, unfortunately. Costco rocks. Love being able to get a TV, computer, food, and new tours all in one place. Yep, for sure. They got a lot of stuff and they got a lot of it. So like if you buy it, you always get it in bulk. Tires. I got you. Tires, says Shaw. So there you go. I want to see the spotters in a race against each other, says Orange Crush 88. So I think Canada has one called a Canadian Tire, and you can get not only Canadian tires there, you can get American tires, and also anything else you can dream of, you can get from Canadian Tire in Canada. So I found that out pretty recently, and I was pretty amazed by that because just seeing it on like TV or whatever, you're like, oh, Canadian Tire, you just get tires there. Nope, it's a full, I guess you could call it a general store because you can generally get anything you want there. Escobar says, I like the way charters used to be or whatever they were called back in the 90s. Yeah, I agree. They weren't called anything. We didn't have them. So, yeah, just teams would show up, and if you qualified, you qualified. If you didn't, you went home. That was, to me, that was when it was more fun because qualifying had stakes. Ross Chastain drives like an owner wants his driver to drive, says old home guy. That's a good way of putting it. That's for sure a good way of putting it. Jamie Schweitzer, I say in stages and stage points and give 5 points to those starting first or last and winning. Yeah, I mean, I think the stages wouldn't be as bad if they'd stop giving cautions for them. I think that's what most people don't like about the stages, and that needs to change. He should not be driving over his head like he is doing now, says Molten Rage. I assume you're talking about Ross Chastain or Chase Briscoe there. 5 points for the fastest lap, too, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, so I liked Slapshoe's version of the points where he gave some points for that. I'm sorry, Ross Chastain has no right racing as terrible as he's been. And this is coming from a guy who likes him, but he needs to stop driving over his head and start learning how to actually drive. You can say that for a lot of guys. We'll just have to see how it plays out. He sure does get a lot of finishes that are really high driving over his head, so I don't know. The Bandit says, did you hear the radio from a few years ago between James Davison? Yeah, so I think he came in a little bit late, but yeah, we talked about that. So basically, James Davison was getting wrecked by his teammate Cody Ware, and they alluded to the fact that he had possibly some stuff going on mentally and some issues that he needed to deal with. So, and I'll leave it at that because I don't want to shame anybody's mental health or anything like that. So apparently, according to that audio, people have extrapolated and said this has been an ongoing thing. So I don't know. Until Cody Ware can speak for himself on that, once again, because it's a mental health deal, I'm not gonna jump in on that one. BB, have you been to Dover Speedway? Wife and I are hauling down from New Hampshire. Dover's one I'd like to go to, but I haven't been to. For the race in a few weeks, I think it's a very underrated track. Should have 2 Cup races per year. Yeah, I think Jimmy Johnson wishes it had 2 Cup races per year. I haven't been to the racetrack, but I went up there to buy my first ever and only ever Z28 Camaro came from Dover, Delaware. So that's actually where that came from. So I visited the track, but there were no race cars at it. But I did get to see Miles the Monster. Molten Ray says, like I said plenty of times, it doesn't take talent to use someone up. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. E. Damon Racing, one thing no one's mentioned about Chicago race, the situation where it has to be regulated. I have no idea how you secure it for fans and teams. That is the number one employer in that area right now, says E. Damon Racing. Yeah, so the reason I haven't said anything about it is I made a video about it, and it started off doing like really good. It was going to be one of the best videos I ever made. Then it hit the algorithm, and there were some words in it, and I still don't know which words were in it that YouTube didn't like. So I pretty much just stay away from it. I assume everybody knows the deal, but I stay away from pretty much anything that has to deal with that because it literally went from this to just fell off a cliff, and I think it barely got like 1,000 views, which I'm okay with 1,000 views, but that one, the way it was trending early on, and then it just took a nosedive off a cliff because we get back end analytics where we can look at stuff like that. It was amazing. You could literally see the shadow ban on that one. So I was like, wow, that's crazy. And that's the day I learned about shadow bans. So anyway, Moulton says, I literally put me in a cup car. I know how to use someone. I know how to use someone as my brakes and drive through people. I don't know. Maybe you do. I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything there. Robert Marks, I thought Ross would do well on dirt being a farmer. Then I realized it's Florida. We got dirt tracks, Merrittville near Niagara Falls, Ontario province. We got ice and dirt to slide on. Says Robert Marks. There you go. I mean, ironically, there's tons of dirt tracks in Florida, but Ross Chastain was a super late model man. He was an asphalt guy, but he actually does. Yeah, he usually does pretty good on dirt, but he did not do good on dirt last weekend. Aaron Flynn, what do you think of Jordan sitting on the 23 box as a life coach and see the team let Wallace down? Like, what was that conversation like? Like the guy that went over the wall and fell over the wall, he might have just got a look, right? Sometimes you just get a look, but I'm pretty sure if he got some one-on-one time with Jordan, it's probably not the one-on-one time he was dreaming of getting with Jordan. That's all I'll say, bro. It's real. We wear black. We wear black and jeans in July, but basically shut the city down if it's under 50 degrees. Say Kyle. I'll tell you what's funny about that. When I was in the times I've been, like, I'm super lucky for weather, by the way. The times I've been in Arizona and California, it's rained and snowed. Let me tell you something. Like, they do not handle rain because I guess they don't get that much rain out there. But when it rains, you actually hear like stuff coming over the radio, like, everybody be careful today. It's raining. Stay inside. Stay in your house if you need to. And that's, to me, that's crazy because it rains down here all the time. But I guess because it doesn't rain there very often, that when the rain actually hits the asphalt, it brings up all the oils and stuff in the asphalt and makes it super slick, which makes sense. So it's just crazy as to what section of the country you're in and how the weather affects things differently. Bo Darville says maybe one of the race cars will get taken at Chicago. Well, the pace car got taken at Talladega that one time, so that's not necessarily unheard of. Mark Barnum, when I lived in Colorado and was working in the working force, I had to deliver that. I had a deliverer that wore shorts year round, even in below zero temperatures. Some people can train themselves to do it. I've seen some wild people that can do that. So some people are just naturally, I guess, warm-blooded or can train their body to do pretty amazing things. Napa racing fan. Also, I guess NASCAR is scared of night races at Martinsville for Cup. Like my name in Earl episode where he pretended to be the boogeyman for sure. Shaw says, sounds awful. Go back to provisionals, says T-Van. Molten Ray says, that's another track that needs to return. We need a Canadian Tire in NASCAR again. Like the truck race was so good. Yeah, Canadian Tire racetrack's pretty good too. Dawson Fair, how about Caden Honeycutt making his NASCAR Xfinity Series debut this weekend at Martinsville for Checker Racing? Yeah, he's a pretty good driver, pretty good wheel man. He's from Texas, I believe. Super good on dirt. He did great in the Cars Tour the years that he raced full time in the Cars Tour. Yeah, he's a heck of a race car driver. He was teammates to Bobby McCarty at Nelson Motorsport. Bobby McCarty is now gone to RNS is where he races now, and I think Cale Gale is racing for Nelson Motorsport, and obviously young Caden Honeycutt is cutting his teeth in the Xfinity Series this weekend, so pretty crazy stuff there. You come into Martinsville, I will be at Martinsville, Danny. Would love to finally meet you. Yeah, I'll be there. I should be there for all 3 days, so look for me all 3 days. I'll be hanging out. I'll be the guy with the camera, so that'll be me, or the big book bag. Sometimes the camera's in the book bag, but yeah, I'll be there. I guess I don't know. I'll wear a bologna burger hat, so I guess it'll be a bright red one if I remember it. So I'll try to be like recognizable, I guess. Canadian Tire has everything automotive, camping, outdoor tools, etc. Says Mark Martin fan for life. Yeah, they from what I've seen, they got a little bit of everything. Steve Wallace on YouTube is who I saw going in there and getting stuff. What is the price of diecast these days? Says Stephen D'Amelio Jr. I think they're like $70 for even like the less expensive ones, and then of course way up there over $100 for some of the elites and stuff like that. Which pretty significant height. You used to be able to get an elite for like $84, and now they're like $100 or more. I thought the best truck races all year took place at Canadian Tire when it was on the schedule. So many memorable moments and such a short legacy, sadly. Yeah, it was a great racetrack, no doubt about it. And Mark Barnum says he's agreeing. So, yeah, I think a lot of people missed that track, myself included. Escobar says they need to try an all-star race, a road course race, and put Cup and Xfinity and trucks on the same field, kind of like IMSA does, but only top drivers in each series. That would be pretty cool. That could be another thing they try. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I'm not going to try predicting Bubba to win in hopes of Joey not finishing last again, says Jamie Schweitzer. Hey, so there you go. Bubba is pretty good at Martinsville, though, so I don't know. That's not necessarily a bad pick. His average finish is pretty good. I don't have statistics in front of me, but I just remember from back in the day, it's one of his better tracks, no doubt about it. Danny says, I was also at Richmond. Watched Larson get it done in person. First time ever seeing him win. Gray was with me. You need to watch my highlights from that race. All right. Oh, that's cool. I'll check them out. I was trying to make that race, but it just didn't work out because I actually had to work a late model race, and it got rain delayed and pushed back. So I didn't have the energy to make it up there, but I really wanted to go. Now I'm super bummed I didn't make it because, of course, Larson won. I predicted Logano gets last as a joke last stream, says Shy. You definitely did, and I saw that, and it was one of the first things I thought about when he finished last. I was like, oh, my goodness, somebody called it. So I had to come back here and look up to see who did it, and it was Shy. Shy called him for finishing last. So you nailed that one. Mark Barnum, Bubba will win again when all the other drivers stay at home, says Mark Barnum. So he is not a Bubba Wallace fan. Old home guy, David Reagan, my new vote for the 51 ride. I mean, he's driven for Rick Ware before, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see. E. Damon says, I don't pay a lot of attention to the young, newer drivers, but Chris Bell reminds me of Logano, talented and smart. His post-race is what caught me. Christopher Bell's a wheel man. He's one of the best ones out there, and the fact that he constantly gets overlooked is pretty crazy. I view everything I see you released, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, it's all good. But like I said, like that one, that was pretty much back in the day. I didn't have a ton of subscribers back then. So when it fell off the cliff, I was like, wow. Like, I mean, you could literally see something was done to it on the back end analytics that they give you. Bubba called Bristol Dirt is a gimmick. We would know was all I could think, says Shaw. Duke Chronic says, does Preece get a fine tomorrow? I think him and his other guy on the radio get fined. It depends on how NASCAR interprets that radio communication. So that's going to be super interesting. I think a lot of people are going to feel a certain way, one way or the other. So I don't know. NASCAR is super inconsistent about stuff. So that's all I can tell you. It could go either way, and it wouldn't surprise me. I'll never forget watching Nemechek and Custer fighting at the start-finish line. That was probably the all-time moment there. I was mad at the time because of Custer. That was Dale Jr.'s team, Junior Motorsports in trucks in the 00. Yep. Matthew M., do you think Harvick wins this year? I think Harvick's going to get a win. Mr. Pearson says, what's up, guys? What's up, Mr. Pearson? And cheers. Garrett Smithley drove the 51 before. Yeah, I mean, Garrett Smithley's another one. Dirt race was a bad idea, but Cletus is having a Ranger race at Bristol. The Cletus Ranger race will probably be good. I was late getting here. Did you talk about Davenport saying it was more of a show than a race? I did, and I 100% agree with him, and that's why I say it should be an exhibition race, and they should let them race real dirt late models, and more people would go for it, and I think it would be more fun for the fans and the drivers. I live in northern Iowa. It was snowing 2 weeks ago, like 7 inches of snow, and with thunder and lightning. There you go. So I think they say in the South when it thunders during snow, you're going to get some more in like 2 weeks or something like that. That's the old wives' tale or whatever. Napa Racing Fan says, try Cup cars on Eldora once. If it doesn't work, forget about dirt other than exhibition events. I agree with you. Trucks ran well on dirt, though, says Napa Racing Fan. Yes, I'm with you on that one. I won short, had over 15,000 on the likes with a 25S short video. It was nuts. How the road plowed, the ice roads shut down. I should do dirt road treatment for the potholes, World War III type. So I think talking about the pothole that developed on the Bristol dirt track, that's just part of dirt racing. Those are going to pop up from time to time, but they definitely under one of the cautions could have patched it up or something like that. There are remedies for it, so that could have gone either way. Darlington, we need the egg. Hey, there you go, Bingo Winchester. Darlington's a fun track. That's one I haven't seen live. I've seen the track, but I haven't seen a race there. So that's another one I need to put on the list. Dog goes wolf, cat goes meow, bird goes tweet, mouse goes squeak. Ross Chastain, blank the other JGR drivers at Talladega. Denny Hamlin. Oh, okay. Wait, what? So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess, Denny Hamlin doesn't like Ross Chastain. We already know that. Aaron Flynn, I stepped off this porch this morning into a pile of crap. First thing came to mind was that daggone Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain got him. Ross Chastain got him there. Let's see. E. Damon Racing. Larry Mack better be in the box with Boyer and Joy. He's the only guy I like listening to. Boyer, but I want info. Oh, I like Boyer, but I want info. Yeah, a lot of people are you're either hot or cold on Clint Boyer. People either like him or they don't like him. But he's definitely polarizing. Let's see here. Trucks Xfinity need to be more independent with schedules. We don't need double headers, triple headers at every track we go to. NASCAR's cost saving measures will stop that from happening. Yeah, that's probably a fair point. BB, do you predict a repeat winner this week or a new driver gets into the playoffs? Say Kyle, not Cal. That's hard to say. Martinsville's a tough track. I think it'll probably be a repeat winner because there's only a handful of people that are really good at Martinsville. So I'm thinking it'll probably be a repeat winner. But then after that, I think we'll go on another run of drivers that, and because I said that, it's probably going to be a new winner. But we'll probably go on another run of drivers locking themselves into the playoffs. First victory of the season. Shaw says, dirt is good for trucks. Definitely maybe Xfinity, but not Cup. Keep that dirt off my Cup. Says Shaw, LOL. Honeycutt in the 51 maybe, or Norm Benning maybe. Hey, Norm Benning setting records, doing his thing. So don't count him out. Danny Moore, you going to be at Charlotte in May? Says Danny. Probably not. That's usually the heart of late model season. So I will probably have a late model date. But if I go, I will definitely let everybody know. But I will be at Martinsville, just so everybody knows. Both racing events, this one and the next one, they have in Martinsville. Say Kyle, not Cal, the elites are about 120. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think they're 120. I hadn't ordered any since I did the Byron Darlington 2 race wins. Too expensive for toys at this point. Yeah, same here. You've seen them go up in price, and now you really got to like one to be buying one these days. That's for sure. 12-hour Cup, Xfinity, and trucks would be sweet, says Duke Chronic. I think so, too. I think an endurance race for NASCAR with all 3 divisions on the track, that would be a cool deal to see. Like 24 hours of Daytona, it could be like a warm-up to that. Like, there's all kinds of situations you could play it into. Jamie Schweitzer says, that's hilarious, predicting Joey last, talking to Shaw. Dawson Fair, how do you like Kyle Weatherman driving the number 96 this weekend? Was trying to make his debut at Richmond, but qualifying got rained out for Colin Fern. Yeah, so hopefully he does a good run. It's good because I like to see Kyle Weatherman back on the track, but it's sad also that it sort of signals the end of Brandonville. So it's mixed feelings on that one. I remember saving over $100 at Canadian Tire. Money, bought a portable stereo back in the 80s. Yeah, so there you go. They've got a rewards program. I didn't even know that. So there you go. You learn something every day. Bell is very underrated, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, Bell is one of the best out there. What are you working on this week, Kyle? Well, this week, Ace Speedway was supposed to have a race. I think it's going to get rained out. So this week, I am actually helping Craig put his rental car together. So he has basically put together a full late model, and I have assisted him when I could. So it's been I've literally been building, helping build a race car. Craig's done the heavy lifting, to be totally honest. But we've taken it from bare chassis that got powder coated, and we've put everything on it. I think the only thing he's lacking now is he got the crush panels in. He's got to hang the body, but I think he has to put he had to put the wiring harness in before we could do that. So it's pretty close. It's almost done. Bell is very underrated, says Jamie Schweitzer. What do you? Sorry, I just read that. How does Christopher Bell get overlooked? Truck Series champion, would have been Xfinity champion. Is currently the best driver with the best team at JGR. Also, his talent on dirt, says Napa Race Fan. I don't know, but a lot of people, like literally, when you see people pick race winners, you hardly ever see people pick Christopher Bell. You never see him on DraftKings be the number 1 pick at a track. but he's just always that dude that's like always there. And all of a sudden, don't look now, but it's Christopher Bell. Like it's some shock or some surprise. I don't know, but he always surprises people that he runs good. And I'm just like, I don't know how, because he's literally top 4. He finished top 4 last year, so I have no problem saying he's top 4. Stephen Emilio Jr. says, dang, on my Bill Elliott delete diecast and 24 karat gold cars were over 200 a piece. I have these cars for years, and they're signed. Hey, there you go. They'll continue to grow in value, and you can see it right there. There's my 1988 $1 million bill car, and that is autographed as well. Trucks ran good at Bristol. If they could have run more than 10 laps at a time, I think so too. I'm with you. That Cletus having a Crown Vic race at Bristol as well. So yeah, Cletus always gets it done. I've been bugging NASCAR management to switch the championship race to the Coke 600 in Charlotte. I mean, that would be interesting. It's the longest race. It would give you the most ability to sell commercials for sure. Since moving to HMS each year, Larson's driving has changed, and not for better or worse. Just doesn't seem the same. Almost like the pressure cooker of HMS expectations have gotten to him. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's just trying to adapt to this new car more than anything, because I think he was really comfortable with the old car, and I think he's just sort of feeling his way around this new car. I don't think this new car suits him, but he's a professional, so he's figuring out how to make it work for him. Molten Ray says, I'm doing a parody of what does the Fox say about, but this time it's what does Chastain do that is wrecking all of the JGR drivers at Talladega. I got you now. I wasn't following you earlier, so that makes sense. I couldn't follow you earlier. So now with some context, I'm with you, buddy. Shah says, unfortunately, trucks is always a wreck fest. Too bad, but they are new, young, and dumb. Yeah, so there you go. That's a fair assessment. Back in the day, there were a lot of veterans in trucks, and that's why it usually put on a better race. Duke Chronic says, baloney on TV. They never missed any green flag laps until 15 to go. They did one side-by-side commercial. Hey, so there you go. That's actually a pretty cool improvement. I'm glad you're keeping track of that, because as much as we criticize them for Daytona, they have progressively gotten better at most of the other races. So credit where credit is due. And when you look at the dip in ratings, I think it can be somewhat attributed to Daytona and all those commercials at Daytona. Like, that's not something you can't factor out as well. Napa Racing Fan says, Trucks, Affinity, and Cup should all have separate teams and pit crews. Everything else is separate. They should hire pit crews specifically for Trucks, Xfinity, and not use guys from Cup. I mean, that's fair. There's also the argument that can be made, Cup, if you own a Cup team, you can't own a lower level division either. I've seen people make that argument. Different tires are now from Cup, Trucks, and Xfinity. I think they have different tires as it stands. So, yeah, I got you. Danny Moore, I bet Hendrick wins. Hendrick's pretty good there. Hendrick to Martinsville is what Petty Enterprises used to be to Martinsville. Petty Enterprises, all-time, I think, winningest team at Martinsville until Hendrick Motorsports usurped them, or whatever you want to call it. Shah says, Napa Racing Fan 927, but think of the overtime pay those pit crews make. Oh, for sure. It's prestigious for them. It's definitely extra money. There's no doubt about that. All-Star Race should include Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. That's a show. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And this year they're getting late models too, so that's pretty cool. The Cars Tour will be there as well, so don't sleep on that. Philip Canavan says they need to bring back GNS green stamp. Hey, they I don't know what that is. GNS green stamp. Is that I don't know. Is that maybe a Canadian store? I'm not familiar with that one. Sort of like Canadian Tire. Napa Racing Fan, good point. I'm saying that cutting jobs doesn't help NASCAR though. Well, yeah, there's always two sides of the coin, right? But they're always saying save money, so I don't know. There's always two sides of the coin. That's fair. Bell is the top JGR guy now, says Duke Chronic. I agree with you 100%. I've said that last year, I think. I think I said it in a video, but yeah, he's definitely the future. That's why it surprised me that Joe Gibbs told him to stay off of dirt. I was super surprised about that. Because I would be doing anything in my power to keep him, but I don't know. Joe Gibbs runs that team and not me. He's got more championships than I do, or ever will have. So he doesn't need my opinion on that. Cletus's Crown Vic race is first weekend in September at Bristol. Okay, so there you go. Seabell has always reminded me of Jeff Gordon. Hey, that's a pretty good comparison, too. Obviously, a lot of Jeff Gordon fans will be like, he's nowhere near as good as Jeff Gordon. But he does have a similar driving style where he's super smooth, but he also hangs it out there. So I can see what you're saying with that one. And they're both dirt guys. Do you think Haley Deegan wins in trucks this year? I hope she does. I don't know if she will or not. She's definitely in a good enough truck for sure. Yeah, I get that aspect of it. Napa Racing fan. Shaw saying a Napa Racing fan. Ding, ding. It's Bell. Says Philip Canavan. So there you go. That could be Christopher Bell's new slogan. Ding, ding. It's Bell. Cletus race is April 22nd. Bingo Winchester says, can you rent a Corvette or something, pull the engine to run for a weekend, put the engine back and return the car? I don't think you can in Cup. They don't match up anymore, but back in the day, you definitely could. I remember Jimmy Means telling a story of the motor to his truck that he was hauling his car with broke down. So he pulled the Cup motor out and stuck it in the truck and drove home with the Cup motor. Jamie Schweitzer, I hope you make a blast from the past video about North Wilkesboro track returning around All-Star race time. I've got the footage. I just need to get on it and finish making it. Bingo Winchester, sure. Why not, says Shaw. Napa Racing fan says, here's a fair deal for people who don't want to get a points-paying dirt race. The Nashville Fairgrounds deal, moving slow. Give Wilkesboro point states from Spring and Bristol. And make Eldora the all-star race. I think some formulation of that, maybe switch some things here and there. But I think that would definitely be a good way of going about it. Ross' theory of racing is if you're not first, you're last. And Denny is always in his way, says Philip Canavan. That's probably a fair take on it. Any updates on Elliott's return? One wise guy says, as far as I know, they're still sticking to the 6 week. So whenever that would be, I guess Talladega. Let's see here. Moulton, that message is insensitive, says Mark Barnum, and I think Moulton deleted that. So let's keep it clean here. I'd like to see Rick Hendrick's car collection, says Old Home Guy. I know he's got a bunch of Corvettes. He's a Corvette guy. GNS green stamps. You got them at the supermarket, usually an independent supermarket. You would collect them and get them. It was in the U.S. Okay, there you go. I've never seen one. And Mark Barnum says, thank you, Moulton. So Moulton took care of it. Old Home Guy, S&H green stamps were years back. So there you go. A little bit before my time, I guess. Or if it was in my time, it wasn't in my region. In regards to tires, why just Goodyear? How about a second provider for competition? This commie-style NASCAR kind of blows. No individual innovation. That's the problem with a kit car, essentially, is it takes all the innovation out of it. So that has definitely been an argument people have had. I'm going to go a few more minutes, and then I'm going to jump off here. Never mind, I apologize. Sorry, that was not the greatest message, says Moulton. So, Moulton, doing the only thing you can do in that situation, apologizing. Appreciate it, Moulton. Steven says, I don't know why everyone is surprised about Seabell. He does have Adam Stevens. Yes, I mean, even Kyle Busch said that. He's got the best crew chief at Joe Gibbs Racing, Kyle. Busch said that in a snarky manner, but I think he meant every word of it. If I remember correctly, Martinsville was Mark Martin's track to the point of having won the most there. Could be wrong. He might have the most in his era, but I know Richard Petty has 15 wins there, and I think that's the all-time at Martinsville. But Mark Martin was definitely good there. Mark Martin was really good at Pocono, too. Thanks, old guy, for getting me straight. It's S&H. I'm getting old, says Philip. So there you go. I'm not a Gibbs fan, but glad Bell won. Yeah, so I think that's one thing I can say. A lot of people that aren't necessarily Gibbs fans, they do like Martin Truex and Christopher Bell. A lot of people. It almost goes back to the days of Tony Stewart and Bobby Labonte, back when a lot of people liked the Joe Gibbs drivers, and now it's become this thing where I think Joe Gibbs Racing, in my opinion, won too many races for people's liking, and they started disliking all of their drivers. In particularly, Kyle Busch didn't help because he won a lot of races and he was polarizing with his personality. But this is the Kyle Busch redemption story because a lot of people like him now. Bo Darwell says, after hearing the road course ringers talk about NASCAR on road courses and how Davenport about dirt, I'm afraid the ratings are partly because other fans of other motorsports don't see this as legit. That could be part of it too, no doubt about it. And they started tearing down California Speedway, says Escobar. According to people, they have at least torn down some stands. So I think they've started it. Can't wait until SRX comes back. Real Racing, says Danny Moore. Jamie Schweitzer, I think Mark only had 2 wins at Martinsville. Jamie Schweitzer says Talladega or the week after that. I think they hinted for Chase returning. So, yeah, I think it's going to be either Talladega or maybe if he doesn't want to race Talladega and risk another injury, maybe the weekend after Talladega. Everyone knows classic Rick Allen calls like aggressive goes around. He starts racing on a computer. But imagine if ring-a-ding-ding, Christopher Bell wins the championship, says Napa Racing fan. That's got a ring to it. See what I did there? Yeah, that's pretty good. I like it. Sonny V, S&H Green Stamps would get them with grocery and gasoline purchase, fill a couple of books, and get a free blender, etc. Oh, so there you go. They had it was a rewards program. I got you. Jamie Schweitzer, I stand corrected. I did partake a lot then, by the way, says Jamie Schweitzer. Old home guy, Rick Hendrick has a Smoky Unique built Z28. Hey, there you go. That's about as cool as it gets, in my opinion. I was a big Smoky Unique fan. Got his book and everything. Obviously, never saw him do anything. He was just a cool character. Say Kyle, not Kyle Shaw. Look up the Tire Wars from the early 90s. Yeah, so Hoosier versus Goodyear. It was what it was. They deem it as not safe, so I don't think we'll ever see that again. Old home guy, Hemi. So old home guy going with a Hemi. Roush has a nice collection too, says Philip Canavan, of cars. Ryan Newman does too. I love the 90s best of everything. Ray Evernham has a nice collection too. 3 Hemi Z28s. Built guy in Minnesota has the other 2, says old home guy. That's pretty cool. Shaw says not just racing. Every car in Roush's collection has a meaning, says Philip Canavan. So there you go. Somebody should check out Roush's collection. Old home guy has bought some nice cars on Barrett Jackson. Cassandra Keller says non-Gibbs fan. Love that kid Bell. Stuart Haas needs to steal him. Right on point, Mark. Yeah, I think Tony Stewart definitely wants him. That's for sure. Mark Barnum agreeing with Cassandra. Bingo Winchester, any SRX races on YouTube. Need to check it out. You know what? I actually haven't checked to see if they've got their races on their YouTube channel. So I need to check that out. Bell is actually my top pick at this point for the championship. That's not a bad pick. Bingo, all races will be on ESPN on Thursday nights. Yeah, so check out ESPN. And Shaw says, go figure, LOL. Bingo Winchester, thanks, Napa. E. Damon says, be good, baloney. Thanks again. Best internet hour of the week. I appreciate it, man. I'll do my best. Cool Mark says, bingo. Jamie Schweitzer says, thank you for your dedicated, positive, accurate content. Thanks. Good night. 3 and 23 for the 22 and 23, says Jamie Schweitzer. And Napa Racing fan, run the Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium. I mean, that's an option. It's already built. They don't have to rebuild it every year. So it would be a fair way to do it. And with that one, that is the last one for the night. So I appreciate y'all hanging out. We'll check you on the next one. Peace.